Tropical storm Julia has developed in the Caribbean Sea. Good morning, I'm Mike Nasa with this Friday morning update on the tropics. Taking a look at the entire Atlantic, looks pretty quiet out there. What's left of Ian is finally captured here into the Canadian Maritimes and moving on out. Not a problem anymore, although it did hang around for a really long time before we finally had some kind of influence to kick it on out. But this is our new tropical storm Julia, and this is forecast to be a hurricane and make landfall on Sunday in Nicaragua. Here's the latest on Tropical Storm Julia as of 11 a.m. It was at 12.7 north, 73.1 west, winds of 40. It's moving very quickly straight west at 18 miles per hour, and that motion should bring it over land by Sunday morning, afternoon, somewhere here in the center of Nicaragua. It could be more on the northern edge of the cone or the southern edge, but right now the cone does not include a landfall directly in Honduras or in Costa Rica. We're thinking Nicaragua is where this is going to go. And the pressure's still up over 1,000 millibars, but we do have watches and warnings out. We have a hurricane warning in effect for San Andreas, Providencia, and Santa Catalina Islands there, Colombia. Beautiful tropical islands, although there's a lot of criminal element to it. And we also have a hurricane watch from Nicaragua coastline of Bluefields to the Honduras border, and that's with the expectation that this system will become a hurricane. And we also have a tropical storm watch in effect here along the coastline of Honduras, as well as a tropical storm warning still here in Colombia as the system pulls away. We are expecting this to eventually become a hurricane warning, and that's going to cause problems there in areas of Nicaragua. Here's the visible satellite. Now, earlier we saw this bursting, and it looked like, wow, this is a tropical storm. Watch what happened. Look at the center there, completely exposed. You see that? It looked impressive, and then this northwesterly shear here just blew apart that thunderstorm complex, and that gives us a very good indication of where the center is, not well defined at all, moving on off towards the west and the west-northwest there in that general direction. The computer models are in good agreement here that this thing's going to continue straight into Nicaragua, and there is some indication that whatever's left of it may eventually pool into the Bay of Campeche. There was some thinking, could it make landfall as a hurricane and then what's left of it come out and get captured by a front and kind of move back towards the east or towards Florida? But right now I'm not convinced of that at all, that we're going to see that happen, especially because this higher terrain here is probably going to rip Julia apart. Here's another look at the water vapor imagery, and there's high pressure built in, and this high pressure is allowing Julia to stay on this straight west course right into Central America. That's going to save the United States. There's not any breakdown of the ridging. We're not seeing any troughs. That's going to pull this system up to the north. Thank goodness for you guys in southwest Florida. But it should develop. This water is very warm down here, and the upper level conditions right now are not ideal. That's a better look at it. You can see there's the northwesterly shear blowing apart the center, but as it moves here more underneath this little safe harbor, the environment should be much, much more favorable. You can see that better here on the shear tendencies. Look at how low the wind shear is here. So it's got hot water and low wind shear, and it's definitely ready to blow as soon as it pulls away from land. Thankfully, because it doesn't have a long time over water, it shouldn't become too strong, but a high-end Category 1 hurricane is predicted right now by the Hurricane Center. The key messages with Julia: it is forecast to strengthen into a hurricane by Saturday evening as it moves over the southwest Caribbean Sea. We do have those hurricane warnings in effect. Hurricane watch now in effect for the Nicaraguan coastline, and hurricane force winds and a dangerous storm surge are expected in areas where the core of the system crosses the islands and moves onshore. Secondly, flash flooding is going to be a big concern here over portions of Central America and Colombia as the system moves along there. This is going to be a sprawling, well-organized system. Taking a look at the water vapor imagery there, look at the way it's already starting to encompass much of the southwest Caribbean, and this is only going to get worse. So again, we're not thinking a major hurricane only because it's so close to land. If it was further north and had more time over water, we'd be talking about that. But certainly a potent hurricane moving into Nicaragua probably sometime Saturday night to Sunday afternoon, and so all preparations need to be made there along the coastline for a landfall of a hurricane from Julia. The rest of the tropics are quiet right now, as I mentioned, very, very tranquil, although in a La Nina year we get a lot of late season activity, so don't take your eyes off the tropics just yet, especially this weekend with the landfall of Julia in Central America. So I'm Mike Nasa with the latest on the tropics. I'll keep you updated on Julia as the weekend progresses.